am happy.
Hi everyone, in Lakesh and Veritas. Welcome to High Vibin' and Drivin'. High Vibin' and Drivin' was created to share what I have learned over many years about how to keep my vibes high and how to shift and elevate in any moment. I will also share how my family and I work to cultivate this frequency throughout our experiences and how it has served us in general and how it continues to serve us as we travel the country in our RV. But most importantly, High Vibin' and Drivin' was created to share how you can easily create high vibin' experiences every day in your life. We don't always know when we're going to our next location in the RV what we're going to find along the way, but one thing that we do know is that no matter what, we are going to enjoy our journey. Living in an RV when the country has been told to shelter in place has been quite the experience and has literally provided us with a lot of growth opportunities and with a new way of seeing life. Most of what we do, most of what I do, I didn't make up. It comes from a long history of practice and tools and knowledge that people have really been using for centuries. And I came to these understandings through many lifetimes as a teacher, a beekeeper, an herbalist, and a quantum light property clearer. My knowledge has also been gained from a wide range of teachers, extensive research, and my experiences with Of the Sun. I want to share a really special experience that I had the other day. As my family and I drove to a new campground in California, we were driving from Southern California down to San Diego up to LA, and we noticed the entire roadside bursting with this gorgeous yellow bloom. And after miles and miles of these gorgeous yellow flowers everywhere, I had to slow down to stop to see what they were. And I found out that it was wild mustard, like mustard greens, wild mustard, and they sprout these incredible, bright yellow flowers. And the herbalist and naturalist in me wanted to immediately get out of the car, harvest up all the mustard greens that I could possibly gather, and saute them up for dinner that night. But the realist in me understood that the car fumes that had invaded the spaces that the wild mustard greens were growing in wouldn't really be a healthy seasoning for dinner that night. So, even though we didn't get to fill our bodies with wild mustard greens, watching the glowing yellow flowers filled our souls for hours as they danced in the wind and we drove past them. And honestly, it continued for days because the roadside wild mustard then became fields of wild mustard flowers and then hillsides of these bursting yellow blooms. I've lived in California for many years and I've never noticed the wild mustard in the springtime. It's interesting how what we focus on expands into our experiences exponentially. So as we drove along that day and listening to music and eating fermented veggies and avocados instead of wild mustard greens, my 2.5-year-old turned to me and said, "I'm happy. Are you happy too, Mommy?" "I am happy," I said. And then she said, "Daddy, are you happy?" "I am happy," he said. And then she said, "I love you both so much." I was like, oh my gosh, my heart is beyond full, right? Like literally one of the best moments of my life. But what it really also did for me was that it made me so proud of my husband and me. Because children absorb whatever is in their experience. And she had absorbed and expressed love and happiness because those are the dominant frequencies in her life. They're what we show her, they're what we show our animals, they're what we show each other, they're what we show everyone and everything that we come in contact with. And, we can't always control what's going on in the world around us, but we can always control how we respond to it and how we choose to experience it. as we are currently in quarantine status, it's more important now than ever to be and to stay in a high vibration. So today we're going to talk about the high vibin' part of high vibin' and drivin'. So what does it mean to be in a high vibration? You know, how do you do it? How do you maintain it? There are so many ways to elevate your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual self. Today I'm going to share some of what I do regularly to stay in the positive, happy, buoyant, high vibing state, and how it can keep you and how it keeps me above the negative frequencies or negative low vibrations of fear, worry, guilt, sadness, frustration, ego, jealousy, all those unwanted emotions. So let's start with the word vibration or frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything is in a constant state of motion at all times. You probably remember that from science class, right? From people to animals to plants, but even emotions and words are all in a state of motion all the time. The frequency of something is measured by something that's called a hertz. And the higher the frequency or vibration, the higher the hertz. And the lower the frequency and vibration, the lower the measurement, the lower the hertz. Positive words and positive emotions have high vibrational frequencies. And negative words and negative emotions have low vibrational frequencies. So if you think of a red rose, for instance, from its color, its smell, its essential oil, its essence, it's connected to what? To the heart. It's connected to love, to elevating and expanding the heart chakra. Therefore, roses measure very high on the Hertz scale and have a high vibrational frequency attached to them. As an emotion and as a word, love holds one of the highest possible vibrations possible. Love can heal. It can elevate, it can promote a sense of well-being and happiness. I mean, love can conquer all, right? It is one of the highest emotions that we can feel, give, and receive. So just think of a moment about how it feels to give and receive love, to say, I love you. Like, it's hard to say without smiling, right? Without just feeling giddy about it. I love you. Now, on the flip side, think about how it feels to say, I hate you, or to feel sadness or anger. Honestly, it's very, like, as I'm saying this to you right now, talking, I feel this angst or like pit in my stomach just saying those words. Our bodies respond to the words by the frequencies attached to them. And our bodies then send us either a rush of elevated positive energy through their high vibrations, or they drain our energy and our life force with their low vibrations. We can feel these differences in our gut, in our heart, in our entire being. There have actually been scientific studies on water molecules and how they respond to positive and negative emotions that are spoken to them or sung to them. So when words of love and respect and gratitude and happiness were spoken or sung to the water molecules, they responded by showing more life, more vibrancy, more activity. I mean, this is like literally happened. It's incredible. And in the presence of anger and hate and sadness, when they were expressed through words and through song, the life process of the water slowed and their measurable vibrations lessened. All living things respond this way. Our animals, our children, our bodies absorb the emotions we feel, what we say to ourselves, what we say to one another, even what we watch on TV, and what we think, leading to wellness or illness. I mean, think about that for a moment. What we think, what we watch on TV, what we say to each other, to ourselves, can literally lead to health or illness. So obviously we want to stay in a high positive vibe and state, right? So how do we stay in those high positive, high vibe and frequencies of love and gratitude and reconciliation and happiness? How do we rise above the low vibrational frequencies that we, either uncover in our own minds or in our own experiences with other people? It's as basic as understanding that what we get. It is as basic as understanding that we get what we call for in life. I'm going to say that one more time. It is as basic as understanding that we get what we call for in life. Seriously. Another way of saying that is we bring about what we think about, or, speak only what you want to see. So the first step in getting into a high vibrational state is simply to call for the highest possible vibration. Calling for the highest possible vibration is an algorithm that makes us stand upright, more erect. It removes erroneous information that evokes and evolves fear. Literally, say out loud to yourself, I call for the highest possible vibration. It sounds simple because it is. You simply say, I call for the highest possible vibration. You get what you call for. Say this until you feel yourself shift into a higher state of being, until you feel more positive. What does a shift look and feel like? Well, it may be obvious, but it also could be subtle at first. Sometimes I feel a tingling in my head when I call for the highest possible vibration to know that a shift is starting to happen. Sometimes my body just straightens up, or I stand up a little bit taller, my shoulders go back. I might feel a rush of energy to my heart, or the corners of my mouth might turn up into a smile. Sometimes it just feels like stillness though. Like literally a break in the moment for an opportunity for a higher elevation and a higher vibration to come in. Sometimes calling for the highest possible vibration is all that is needed in a moment to shift you, to lift you out of that lower vibration or that lower frequency. Honestly, I use this technique literally all the time to help me shift and to help those in my experience, like my child or my husband, shift, because what is outside of us is inside of us. You may have heard people say, as above, so below. And what's so cool about that reality is that if someone is in your presence and they're experiencing a negative or low vibration or negative emotion, it has presented itself in your experience too, because it's also in you. And so people kind of hold a mirror up to us, to what we are putting off. And it also means that we have the ability not only to shift those low vibrations in ourselves, but we also have the ability to affect the changing of the negative low vibrations in other people and elevate them into a higher state of being. How cool is that? When my daughter started swim lessons, she was not a fan at first. Like literally she would scream and cling to me and didn't want to get in the water. And we actually the first 2 times had to pry her hands off of me to give her to her swim teacher to put her in the water. It was, needless to say, a traumatic experience for everyone involved. After 2 days though of me thinking we had made a huge mistake of even signing her up for swim lessons, I decided to call for the highest possible vibration on day 3, driving to her swim lessons. I said it to myself, like I call for the highest possible vibration. I just repeated it over and over and over to myself. And then I started saying it out loud so she could hear me as well. And I also called for buoyancy and for success and joy, because remember, we get what we call for. Everything changed that day. Seriously, it was short of a miracle. Everything changed that day. She literally started yelling, "Yay!" as we drove into the neighborhood where her swim classes were. And she ran up to her teacher, jumped in the water. She'd never jumped in the water before in her life. Jumped in the water like she was free and excited to be there, to her swim teacher. And it changed everything. It became our routine in the car every single day, obviously, right? As we drove to swim lessons. And that was the experience that followed every single time. Sheer joy, buoyancy, happiness, success, high vibin' frequencies. You know, and it became such a clear example to me that we have the power to change anything in our experience at any moment. Like attracts like. It works both positively and negatively. You know, have you ever been really frustrated and the next person you encounter is also frustrated, and then your negative, frustrated energies collide and you start being frustrated with each other? It also works with positive energies. You know, have you ever been in an awesome mood and then you walk into a store and everyone is laughing or people are smiling at you? Or people are high-fiving. That literally happened to me one time. I'm in a super happy mood. I walk into a store. People are happy. People are laughing. I look over to the right. Someone's giving someone a high five. I'm like, this is really incredible. I'm going to call for the highest possible vibration all the time. And as I started to experience these things as a result of staying in a high vibe and frequency, it reaffirmed to me day in and day out that this was one of the ways to do it. There are no coincidences. Frequency is everything, or you could say everything is frequency. I could give you countless examples of how calling for the highest possible vibration has shifted my experiences, my emotions, and the experiences within my realm and all of those around me. Oftentimes, I add another step as well. Not only do I call for the highest possible vibration, but I also do something called Ho'oponopono. Both of these elevation tools can be used to shift you from a low vibrational frequency to a higher one at any given moment, which is how most people use them. But they can also be used as preventative maintenance. So in other words, they can be used as a daily protocol or a daily practice in your life in the morning or throughout the day to prevent negative low vibrational frequencies from creeping in or from being part of your psyche in the first place. I use them both ways. I use both tools, calling for the highest possible vibration and Ho'oponopono, in the morning when I wake up to have a good high vibe day, and before I go to sleep to set me up for positive, buoyant dreams and a more restful night. But I also use them to elevate my frequency if I find myself slipping into negative or low vibrational thoughts or emotions or experiences. Stay tuned for my Ho'oponopono video, and I will share with you how you can use that tool throughout your day as well to get into a high vibin' experience. Don't forget to click subscribe below to subscribe to the High Vibin' and Drivin' YouTube channel, and follow me on Instagram at High Vibin' and Drivin'. Have a beautiful day, everyone, and be happy. It is the antidote to everything. In Lakesh and Veritas.